Hi, it's Mike Stephenson here. Today I'm going to talk about a question from one of our customers about monitoring Logic Apps Standard. And this is kind of a follow-up to a previous video where we talked about auto correction if your Logic app gets disabled. Um, Today we're going to talk about a lower level down. So let's go into the app and we look at the individual workflows in the app. And if one of those gets disabled, can we auto correct that? So over in Table 360 here, you'll see I've got my business application, and then inside that, I've got, let me just explain this a bit. So I've got the application level resource, which is this one here, but I also have workflows within the application as well. So you can see I've got a whole list of individual workflows, and we can do monitoring of those on their own. And actually, you can also add different workflows to different applications, which I think is quite powerful. So imagine I build a Logic App Standard app and it's got 20 workflows in, but they actually solve different business problems. You can put each workflow into a separate app, which gives your support user a more contextual based view because they know this workflow solves this problem and these other two workflows do a different problem. So over here in Turbo 360, the feature we're going to look at is the in the monitoring section. So here, let me just clean those. Right, so we're looking at in Logic Apps Standard at a workflow level. There's fundamentally some differences compared to Logic App consumption. So all the metrics in Standard are on the app itself, whereas in consumption, all the metrics are also on the workflow. But in Logic Apps Standard, the workflow doesn't have metrics that you can monitor. You can do app insight queries, which is something we may cover in another video. But today we're going to look at two of the key features we have for Logic App Standards. The first one here is I can go and monitor the run history and look for a number of failures. So imagine Turbo 360 says, right, 5 minutes ago I checked, you had no run failures. Now, in the last 5 minutes, you've had two run failures, therefore we trigger an alert and tell you you've got a problem. That's one of the features, but the one we're looking at today is this one here about the state. So what I've configured is here, I've said if the state for this workflow is not equal to enabled, trigger an alert. But we also have this feature here, which can auto correct. So if it becomes disabled, Turbo 360 will auto correct it back to enabled. So let's have a look at how we can trigger that. So up on the top here, you can see I've got some actions for the workflow itself. So what I'm going to do is I can do this either from the Azure portal or from Turbo 360, but in this case, we're just going to disable it from Turbo 360. And what we'll see in a second is the monitoring will kick in and we'll see that Turbo 360 goes into an unhealthy state. So we can see over here, icons just gone red. Sorry, icons just gone red in the corner here. I also have an email I think just came through. So we've got our violation alert here. So we've said we've got an error. And if you see here, we're seeing that's the resource that had an error. So it's a Logic App Standard workflow. If you note, the rule was that the state is not equal to enabled. And here we're doing an update to mark it back to enabled. So what will happen is that when we check the monitor and we've triggered that, we've took the auto correct action. Turbo 360 will now, next time it checks the monitor, it'll see it's gone back to a healthy state, and that application will go back to green in a second. And there we can see over here it just flipped back to green there. So we'll have a quick look at the incident. So at the application level, over here in the monitor, we've got a list of the incidents, and you can see we should have just had, I think it'll be this one here. So the workflow, see that the workflow here is disabled, not equal to enabled. And then So a minute or so later, you can see we did a check and everything's now healthy and it's all back to a good place. Um, so you can configure how often you want the Turbo 360 rules to be checking things. So you may do it really aggressively for some apps and less aggressively for others. You may have other things you're monitoring beyond just the status. You might be checking the run history, metrics on, and the great thing with the business apps as well is it's not just a logic app. Your logic app solution may involve things like an API operation, a function, a database. You want to monitor them as a group so you can check different things on those resources and treat it as an application you support, which we think will help customers get that really positive monitoring experience. Thank you for listening to today's video. We hope you enjoyed this. Take care.